I've always believed you tell someone a fact, they'll learn, tell them the truth they believe, but tell them a story, it lives in their heart forever. They always remember stories. And that's what we're after.
Say that again, Stevens.
Tell me a fact and I'll learn. Tell me the truth and I'll believe, but tell me a story and it'll live in my heart forever.
Tom Crean's doing what he always does, Steve. He's writing it down.
Why wouldn't I?
Stories from the first family of coaching, the Harbaughs, today on NFL Films Presents. What's in a name? Well, if that name is Harbaugh, the answer is coaching. Jack was one for over 40 years. He and his wife Jackie had 3 children. John and Jim are coaches. Daughter Joni married one, Tom Crean, the head basketball coach at Indiana University.
I want to start this with a quote from your wife, your sister, and your daughter. And she said, talking about you, she said, "Here's how I know my husband is a good coach. I asked him to bring me a Phillips screwdriver, and he asked me what it was."
There's a certain amount of ignorance there. There's no doubt. But I can hold myself accountable, or like a good coach, I can pass the responsibility around. And my father-in-law never taught me what that was. I never learned it at home.
The interesting thing is, I didn't know what a pliers or a screwdriver was until I became a grandfather. Now, all at once, I have to come to your house and
you put together more cribs than I have.
But all 4 men certainly know how to put together a team. Jack did that as head coach at Western Michigan and Western Kentucky. His son-in-law, Tom, was the head basketball coach at Marquette University for 9 seasons. In 2003, Crean and Dwayne Wade led Marquette to the Final Four.
Read that wedge!
John Harbaugh spent 10 seasons as an assistant coach with the Philadelphia Eagles before becoming head coach of the Baltimore Ravens in 2008. Younger brother Jim played quarterback in the NFL for 15 years.
Fire on Billy tonight. Put the fire on gut tonight, all right? Come on.
His first head coaching job was at the University of San Diego, where his father served as an assistant. Jim is now the head coach at Stanford University.
There we go, take it to distance. Yes! Yeah! Hey, Ravens! How about the Ravens?
For the Harbaugh boys, football is both a profession and a passion. And it all started for them back in the 70s when their father was an assistant under legendary Michigan coach Bo Schembechler.
Bo Schembechler, I mean, it was like, what, God walking around on earth, you know?
The Beatles.
Yeah, you know, it didn't get any bigger. And I got to go to practice. I got to be down on the sidelines being a ball boy.
Isn't there some story that your dad came in and saw you sitting in Bo's office?
I was sitting in Bo's office with my feet on the desk. And
how old were you?
I was 10 years old. My dad and Bo had just come back from playing handball together. Yeah. And so they walked into the office. I saw my dad, you know, give me a look like, "Get your feet off his chair. Get your butt off his chair." Bo's like, "How you doing, Jimmy?" "Doing good, Bo. How you doing?"
Bo turned around and he said something like, "I think this kid's going to amount to something."
Bo was so impressed with Jim's moxie and strong right arm that years later he made Jim his starting quarterback. John, who played defensive back at Miami of Ohio, didn't show off his strong arm until he went to work for his dad as an assistant at Western Michigan.
We're playing down at Ohio University.
Great coaching lesson.
And John was on the sideline. The game's not going well. We're losing at Ohio University.
Mostly attributable to the officiating, as I recall.
We like to blame it on someone. I guess we can blame it on that.
As usual.
But anyway, the game's lost. It's a couple scores down, and John vented his frustration. He took off his headset, which was not ours. They were Ohio University's headset. We didn't bring our own headset in those days. "I've had it all I can take from those officials." And he fired the headset over our team, over the bench, onto their track. And then it slid, you know, a ways.
It's like 40 yards downfield, right in front of the student section.
So I walked over to him and I said, "John, you're going to have to go get him." What do you mean I got to go get him?
Are you kidding him?
Did John go get him? John, I'll let you pick it up from there.
I mean, you can imagine it was a little humiliating, to say the least.
Never thrown a headset since then, have you?
No, that's exactly right.
A lesson you learned in Ohio.
That's right. He brought the headset back. I want to know.
Lesson well
it
learned.
it was in pieces. I mean, the headset was off. And
Did I hand him to you?
He handed it to me like here.
Here's your headset.
Big guy.
I think I said, Coach.
There can't be 3 people in a family anywhere in this world, all right, that are more competitive than these 3. And you know what? Let's go all 5, because if you've sat at a game with Jackie Harbaugh and lived to tell about it, you've got a story. Because there's never been a basketball official at one of my games, one of John's games in football, one of Jim's games in football, or one of Jack's games in football that wasn't on the tape. Okay? I mean, there's no question.
That's Jackie.
Yeah, according to Jackie. I'm not quoting myself. Yeah. Okay? You can't help but want to be competitive when you're around these guys. I mean, you just can't help it.
We learned it from you. I mean, you were that kind of guy. I mean, you must win. You got to win.
It wasn't that. It was never you must win, I don't think. It was always you must compete. You must compete. Like in 4th grade, the gym teacher, St. Francis Elementary School, great guy, nicest guy ever. But he told Dad and Mom that he had this kid in gym and he was in the class and he was just a little too competitive. It's too important for him to win the game in gym, and maybe that was a character flaw, and maybe that's something that the parents should work on with him. And you mentioned to him that. What'd you say? How'd you say?
I said, if you ever drive that out of him, I'm going to chase you down to the end of the world.
It's funny that we have a different take on that. We learned a different. I learned it. You must win. You must win. There's a time we're playing football at the Minnick's house in their big long yard, and we get in an argument about whether a guy was in the back of the end zone or out of the back.
Who were you arguing with?
I was arguing with Jim Minnick, who's now a colonel in the Marine Corps.
All right.
And Tom Minnick is the sheriff of Washtenaw County at the time. Jim's dad, and my dad's a football coach at Michigan. After about 30 seconds of arguing about who was in and who was right, the 2 dads said, "That's it. There's going to be no more arguing. You 2 fight right now." And we're like 12, we're 11 years old. So we look and Jim Minnick hit me across the tooth, and gashed his finger open. And the fight had to be stopped right there. He still claims victory because he actually hit me. But I said, "You're the guy that we had to stop the fight for you. You were bleeding." I still think I won that fight, Jim Minnick. I mean, that's the kind of guys they were. It wasn't like, that's it. Enough arguing. You're fighting.
More with the Harbaughs when we return. What's in a name? Responsibility, if that name is Coach.
Best ones of the day, Derek. Nice job.
Our head in the chest. 2/3 of the way there, our hands are active. We are not opening up and giving them the baseline, but there is no way we give them the middle.
Here you go, Wedge. Hey, man, you got to steal around that inside arm. Give him a little pipsqueak like me across your face, are you, Joe?
I did an interview with Lombardi once, and I said, what does it take to be a great coach? And he says, a great coach has got to be a 1/2 teacher and 1/2 son of a Really? You think that's true?
Yeah, I think great coaches are relentless and persistent and never back down. And that's what these guys, that's what we learned from our dad. That's what I see in Tom Crean. I watch him coach his guys.
We bear down and we don't allow that feeling to creep back in where we don't know if we can get it done. We bear down and we don't allow anybody to take what we want from this today.
My team thought his talk before the Notre Dame game was the best talk they'd heard, pregame talk.
What'd you say?
Oh, this is, I don't care what level we put this on, we can't talk. We can't talk on that level.
This man would have made one of the great linebacker coaches at any level of football.
No doubt.
As it relates to tough, hard-nosed football, this guy could coach it, I promise you.
Let's go, keep coming. Michael Jordan had his highest scoring average in the 4th quarter.
We take pride in winning the 4th quarter and being the best conditioned team on the football field, okay?
That's the whole point. Relentlessness, persistence, knowing that, you know what, there's no other way to do it besides this way, because why? This is our way. This is who we are.
Men of Stanford, take pride in this.
Feels good to work, doesn't it, huh? How's it feel to work? Doesn't it feel good? Feel like you accomplished something, sense of accomplishment?
And you get the players, they see themselves the way you want them to see themselves. You know, they see themselves in the best possible light. Who are you? What are you all about? This is what you're all about. I'm telling you who you are.
We got a bunch of proud, valiant warriors. We got a bunch of men in here that did something special.
This is what you're about. You're a man of integrity. You're a man of character.
Never stop believing. You never stop believing. We knew you were going to find a way. Today we found a way.
That's something that we learned from Dad. I mean, just the way he coaches. I mean, it was never king to subject, Lord to servant. You know, it's father to son. You know, it's professor to student.
Hey, Chris, come on, Chris. Got some learning for you. Got some learning. If he gets it, if he squats, if he clouds that corner, outside release him, and just sit out there 12 yards.
That's something that has served all of us really well.
You know, it's about humility. That's the greatest thing about Jack Harbaugh. He was humble.
We do not take a boastful attitude about this. We are humble and our eyes move forward. We know what's in front of us.
Guys look at humility and they see that and they understand. You know what? That's what makes a person great. So to me, that's what great teaching is. You know, that's what Tom shows his guys and Jim shows his guys, what we learn from our dad.
I got a chance to see John and Jim coach within 3 weeks of each other in person. It was amazing. I've learned so much.
What did you learn?
From watching. Well, in John's case, it was after they lost to the Colts, and I got to be in the locker room. And first off,
I'd like to know what was said, because he won't allow us in the locker room.
Well,
so tell me what was said.
Probably what wasn't said, which would blow you away, because after a 31 to 3 game.
I don't know, I forgot. I blacked it out.
John had a look that I'd never seen on John before, but it was that head coach, I'm in another world, and I'm trapped in this right now, and trapped in misery. And he talked to his team, and he told them, I can't wait to find out what we're made of.
This is an opportunity. This is what you dream of in life. Show the whole world what you're really about. It's easy to be. And then our coach, the two coordinators come in, Rex and Cam and Tom, and basically the four of us have a conversation about where we're going to go and how we're going to turn the thing around. And Tom was a huge part of that moment. So, you know, for those things are the things that...
Amazing stuff, it really is. John was phenomenal. And then seeing Jim coach at Notre Dame, watching him on the field before the game, watching him during the game. He went after the officials one time. I would have got a 5-game suspension for that in college basketball. And believe me, during this year on our season at Indiana this year, I tried to get a few of those things. But, you know, and obviously, I mean, it's the old adage. I mean, adversity brings out who you are. I mean, there's no question about it. And what these guys have done with their teams. But again, it all goes back to Coach Harbaugh.
Now,
really
you say, Coach, what do your players call you? Do they call you your first name? They call you?
I think I'm still. I hope I never get away from being old school enough that it's Coach. Dwayne Wade still calls me Coach.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's.
What about your players?
Coach, yeah.
I mean, that's what it was intended to be.
Coach, Harbs, John. It's a little different.
Yeah.
See, Bo and Woody were never known by anything but Bo and Woody.
Bo was always Bo.
With their coaches and players.
So a player
Which is
for Ohio
shocking.
State called Woody didn't call him Coach or Mr. Hayes?
I can't speak.
I can't believe that.
I can't speak for Woody as much as I can for Bo. I never heard a player or coach call Bo anything but Bo. Did they, Jim? Can you remember anyone?
Yeah,
ever call
guys would call him Coach. I always called him Coach.
Did you?
The whole time I was there. Rick Leach always called him Bo. There was players that
So
called
you went
him.
from calling him Bo as a child to coaches as a late teen, early adult. That's a heck of a deal. That's a story in itself. That's a story in itself.
More stories with the Harbaugh family when we return. What's in a name? In 2008, rookie head coach John Harbaugh made a name for himself by leading Baltimore to an 11-5 record in a trip to the AFC Championship game. But it was Harbaugh's father who taught the Ravens what's in a name before the season began.
Jack Harbaugh is the key to our season with the stories. The Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay, What's My Name story. It's a classic story. We'd heard it. Tom knows it, but we all know it by
He
heart.
told all our teams this.
Yeah, it's What's My Name.
It's like fine wine. It does get better with age.
Cassius Clay had just won the World Heavyweight Championship, and he changed his name.
My name is no longer Cassius Clay, Conviction. My name is now Muhammad Ali.
And he was getting ready to fight Ernie Terrell, if you remember. And Ernie Terrell, at a press conference, refused to recognize him as Muhammad Ali. And Ali said, "You do know my name. My name is Muhammad Ali." And Terrell said, "Your name is Cassius Clay. You'll always be Cassius Clay to me.
You'll always be Cassius Clay to me."
Before this fight's over, you will call me Muhammad Ali. You'll call me with the respect that I deserve.
Round one. And Muhammad Ali walked out. And he walked out. Boom! Boom!
What's my name? Boom! What's my name?
People at ringside to this day that saw that fight heard him say at least 15 times every round. Boom, what's my name? Boom, what's my name? Boom, what's my name? Boom, boom, boom.
Boom, boom, boom. Throw a jack right down the road. And guys are just, do I flinch? Do I get to fight this
And
guy?
and you can get it to where you can go, what's my, boom.
I was praying to God that someone didn't go after me.
Boom, what's my name? And he started to buckle. Get up here once. I'm going to show you how it happened. Start to buckle. He went down. No, stand up. You're not ready for you to go down yet. You'll go down when you're ready to go down. When you call me by my name, Muhammad Ali. About the 12th round, Ernie Terrell said, Muhammad Ali, Muhammad Ali. Your name is Muhammad Ali, Muhammad Ali. And they stopped the fight. Respect. You don't ask for it. You don't plead for it. You don't beg for it. You got to go out and earn it. What's my name?
What's my name? Right. What's my name? Right. What's my name? Right. Yeah. What's our name? Right. What's our name? Right. What's our name? Right.
Cool thing is that this is the kind of stories we've been hearing ever since we were kids. And we're going to get Little Red Riding Hood, the little engine that could stories, you know.
Harbaugh takes, sets up on the left side. Harbaugh takes it himself straight ahead to the 10 to the 5.
Jim Harbaugh was the Chicago Bears' first-round draft pick in 1987. With the Colts in 1995, he was the NFL's Comeback Player of the Year. When we return, find out how he helped save a college football program. What's in a name? Pride, if you become a national champion.
Jack, your most satisfying moment as a coach, the moment that you thought, damn, this is why I became a head coach.
Well,
I know it's a tough question.
When we were at Western Kentucky University, we were in our third or fourth year there, and the president called us in on a Friday afternoon in March and told us that his recommendation was disband football. And I'd been fired at Western Michigan as a football coach, but I never had anyone take a program away from us. So that was one of the lowest moment of my entire coaching career. And then a month later, by one vote, they kept football, 5-4, took 2 coaches away from us, took $500,000 from our budget, and they cut 15 scholarships. But I made up my mind pretty much that it was over. That why, continue to struggle and maybe go back and be an assistant coach somewhere. Jim was in Chicago with the Bears. I'm sitting in the office, my head down. Door opens, it's Jim. It's Jim, what are you doing here? He said, well, I'm driving down to Florida. I decided to go down to Florida, to Orlando. He said, what's going on with you? Why aren't you out recruiting? This was after that season was over. And I said, well, Jim, there's no hope. What's no hope? He said, this doesn't sound like you. What's going on? I said, Jim, there's no chance. He said, what if you got 4 coaches, you're allowed 6. What if I became a full-time coach at no money, and I can't be here during the season because I'm with the Chicago Bears, but I can recruit for you? And I said, well, you got to take a recruiting test. He said, I think I could pass that. Give me the It's an open book. An open book test. I think I could pass it.
They hired me. I went to work, went down to Florida and started recruiting. Fortunately, John's recruiting area was also Florida. He was in Indiana at the time.
Yeah.
So John only put together a list for Indiana recruiting. He put a side list for Western Kentucky. So I would work off of that.
Hey, Jim got about 4 guys that went to the NFL.
Yeah. He's putting a list together in Indiana. Jim's down recruiting in Florida. Tom's being my advisor, so we stayed.
8 years later, won the national championship.
Won the national 1AA championship.
Tell him about Jim with the play calling. He's a little discouraged with your play calling.
We're playing UAB, and Jim's with the Bears, and they have an off week. We're running option football. Down the line of scrimmage comes Willie Taggart. He reads it, pitches it. We're going for 15 yards. We're winning 14-0. We are controlling the game. And Jim came over. He goes, Dad, do you have a pass in your offense? I said, yes, we do. He said, well, I'm telling you something. If you don't run it soon, I'm going home.
Yeah. Play action, fake, and throw a post.
So we came down. We play action to the fullback. The quarterback comes down the line, takes 3 steps off, throws it right down the middle. The guy is so wide open. He goes up to me and goes, Dad, that's how easy it is.
After 40 years in coaching, you have a national championship.
In your life, could you ever believe that something like that happened to a guy? He's kind of just struggles around. For the first time in my life, I'm just totally speechless.
Being on the sidelines watching Coach win the national championship in football. I mean, that took as much out of me as any game I've ever coached. Sitting at home watching Jim beat USC his first year at Stanford. And I think maybe the one that puts it in the most perspective for me, the day that John got announced with the Ravens. I was actually one of the first ones to hear it in my office, and I had my own tears. But to get home in time, to be in our house, and you get a hold of your parents in our house and to watch their reaction, beyond belief.
When you got the job, I mean, that snapshot of I'm in Grand Rapids, I'm in a blizzard, I know I'm going to die, but I don't care. I'm going to get to the airport so I can fly to Milwaukee and be with my mom and dad so we could just, enjoy that, and being at, going to Final Fours and watching this guy on the sideline.
The Kentucky game. Remember the Kentucky game? Minneapolis.
And, we're hugging.
You guys went to the Final Four.
No, they didn't make it, okay? They waited for the Final Four. You made it.
I was in Minneapolis.
You made it.
I was there.
That's the stuff to me that drives you. And that's what makes you want to keep doing it and keep getting better at it, but then also being able to understand how blessed you are to be in a situation like this.
It's an unbelievable life that we have. I mean, there's nobody who has it better than us.
Nobody.
The thing about coaching, it's so satisfying. It's all the little things. I mean, just when you break through with guys, and the players you have. But I guess if you had to pick anything, it would be like the game against Tennessee.
How about them Ravens? That's right.
You're hugging everybody and grabbing everybody. I look around there, I see my dad. And then we just looked at each other and hugged. I don't know, it was unspoken, just all the feelings and all the Western Michigans and Western Kentuckys and growing up with Tom and Jim, just all of it is just kind of flowing through you.
I don't think there's anything that makes a father and mother prouder than to have their children go into something that you spent your life doing. It's such an interesting thing because they see the good, they see the bad, they see the ugly. They see you come home after a 63-21 ball game where you were on the losing side of it.
You mean when you went right to bed? Sleep. It was Arizona State. Went right to bed. We never saw him. He didn't say hello. Went right into his bedroom and went to sleep.
Turn the lights out.
Tried to like you'd wake up the next morning and it wouldn't have happened.
But then they see all this, and yet they choose to follow in your footsteps. So there must have been something that you did in the morning when you went to work with a smile on your face, when you came home at night, for the most part, with a smile on your face, and they said, you want to emulate mom and dad. Joni wanting to be the wife of a coach, and John and Jim deciding to go into coach. So there's nothing that can make you prouder.